Welcome to episode 4 of Sidetracked, a Raz My Berries production. Sam, it's been a while.
It has.
It's now 2018. We are in February.
It's been about a month.
About a month. So much for that get those two out a month thing.
Yep.
We've already failed.
Yep.
Isn't that what resolutions are only made for? It's
Yep.
just to fail them anyway.
I didn't even say that. Well, maybe I did. I haven't. You do the editing on these. I didn't go back and watch it. I don't think that was actually a resolution. More of
A goal. It was more of a goal.
Yeah, it was a goal. It was a hope.
It was a optimistic goal.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so let's dive right in. So what is our topic for today's episode, Sam?
We're going to be comparing the Marvel TV shows and movies to mainly the Marvel Cinematic Universe and comparing them to the DC TV shows and the DC Cinematic Universe.
AKA the DCEU, because they like to call it the DC Extended Universe.
Well,
Don't know why it's called that.
Because DCCU is kind of hard to say.
Not really. DCU.
No.
Oh, DCEU?
DCCU.
Oh, DCC. Oh, gosh. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, alright. Fair enough. Anyway, so, Sam, between the two of us, I'm more of the... I should say, for me, I am both a huge Marvel and DC fan, and I'm pretty knowledgeable with both the different universes. You're more of a Marvel person, I'd say. You're more familiar with Marvel stuff.
I mean, I know a bit about DC, but a lot of it's well, I can't even think of what I really know my DC stuff from, because I know a fair amount of the characters, but I can't think of what show I know them from.
Well, DC has a lot of different animated shows that were popular. Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, some of the biggest ones that I am aware of, where I got a lot of my knowledge of the DC universe versus just knowing Batman. Because Lord knows I've watched enough Batman growing up. Batman the animated series, Batman the New Adventures, Batman Beyond, The Batman. There's a lot of them that I watched growing up. And Batman the animated series was probably by far my favorite. Because you had Kevin Conroy voicing Batman. And you also had Mark Hamill as the Joker. So
yeah, I never saw that one. The two DC TV shows that I can think of that I did. Well, one of them I watched, which was Teen Titans.
Oh, yes, Teen Titans.
Seen a lot of that, and I do know a fair number of characters from there. And I had watched some of the Super Friends.
Friends.
I'm not sure if it was the 1973 one or the one from the 80s.
It could have been either one, but... I love the announcers. Meanwhile, in the Hall of Justice, or meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom. How did they discover our plans? Solomon Grundy might have dropped the ball on that one. But so you and I have talked a lot about this off the air. But we're not even on the air. What am I saying? Anyway, we have talked about that. DC, as far as their live action stuff, as far as their movies, not quite up there as far as quality.
Well,
versus Marvel's MCU.
The writing for DC just is not... Well, the writing and the universe building for the DCEU is not up to par with Marvel's.
Yeah. Their strongest movie being Wonder Woman, of course, so...
And even that does have... It's not a huge issue, which we haven't gotten to...
Reviewing that.
But
it's definitely... You have to admit, it's its strongest...
It is the strongest, and yet it has a pretty big fatal flaw in it.
And that being...
The villain.
Not that big of a flaw, but... I mean, in my opinion. But... I mean, the way he looks, I'll admit, yeah. I don't like the look of Ares. I don't like the look. Never... The mustache is what really bugs me.
And that's the big flaw. Your character design is part of your character.
Yeah. But to be fair, Marvel's MCU, I'm sure you can find plenty of DC fanboys who will argue that Marvel's villains have a bit of a problem too. And there's a few of them I can kind of agree with that. For example, Guardians of the Galaxy's Ronan. I thought he was okay for a villain. He was good, but he wasn't great. He was definitely not a great villain to me. You had a villain, and I will talk about... I'm going to say it again when we review it, but he doesn't really have much of a motivation for wanting to destroy Xandar, which was... I will invoke justice for Xandar's crimes. What were those crimes? I want to know what in the world did Xandar do to the Kree that makes Ronan the Accuser feel like he needs to wipe out the entire planet. Give him some motivation and I'll understand. But he was threatening. I'll give him that. He was definitely a threatening villain.
I mean, I liked him better than Star-Lord's dad.
No! Star-Lord's dad was way better of a villain. He had motivation. He was alone in the universe.
He didn't have motivation.
Yes, he did!
He just went around
leaving his mark on each planet.
Yes, having kids with the native species of a planet and then moving on. That's not much of a motivation.
That's not what his motivation was. His motivation was that he wanted to make the universe more like him. Though the argument there, I'm pretty sure I've heard somewhere, was like, so if he felt so alone, why does he think making more of himself or spreading his likeness on every planet going to make him feel less alone?
Yeah.
That's one thing I like. Okay, yeah, I kind of get that, but I mean, he's not alone because he's got Peter, and Peter's just like him.
Well, and if he felt so alone, why didn't he settle down on the planet?
Because remember, if he doesn't go back to his planet, he could die. Like, his essence will die.
Well, then he takes someone with him.
So he would take Peter's mom back.
Yes. What's the problem with that?
I don't... Okay, you got me there.
Exactly.
Yeah, but... We'll see, so Marvel's not perfect as far as the villain department either. Their best villain so far, in my opinion, their greatest villain has been Loki, Tom Hiddleston. That's been their greatest villain.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Tom Hiddleston. He's an excellent actor and he makes a great Loki, but I kind of have to go with Ultron.
Really? I mean, no, I really liked Ultron too. I love James Spader's voice as Ultron. I thought Ultron was really cool. I mean, my biggest complaint, because I've watched some of the new Avengers cartoons, at like Avengers Assemble, my most recent one from I think it was aired in 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. But I just love Ultron's robotic-y sounding voice. And this Ultron sounded more human a bit to me. He sounded robotic, but he had more of a human aspect to him.
Yeah.
Instead of the robot version of his in the animated series. Speaking of which...
well, I mean, before we go on, the main thing I enjoyed about Ultron was just the fact that he took one look at the human race and was like, yeah, this needs to stop.
Yeah, exactly. I that was one of the things that I enjoyed about that, too.
He's an excellent villain.
He is an excellent villain. I'm agreeing with you there. I don't see why people don't think Age of Ultron was that great of a movie. I mean, comparing it to the first Avengers film, I guess it's not as good. I mean, I just enjoyed both thoroughly, but I mean, if I had to pick which one I liked more, I'm gonna probably have to say the first one, because mostly because of the fact that this was the first time you see all these characters together on the big screen that we've been waiting for forever. But anywho, moving on. So we've discussed that while Marvel is excelling in their live action for most part,
DC is excelling with their TV shows
and their animated stuff.
Yes,
I've been watching,
especially their animated.
I
mean, I would say that. Well, they have more TV shows than Marvel does.
Yes, and more successful ones, I'd say.
And I mean, they're.
But Marvel's getting back up there.
I don't know what it is about their animated TV shows, but they're so well written.
They are. They're
World building is wonderful.
The animation's beautiful too.
Which one was it?
Their animated movies. Like I keep telling you. Okay, so.
Oh yeah, Young Justice.
Young Justice.
I haven't seen a lot of that show.
I've seen both seasons.
That is a wonderful show.
It is. It is amazing. I was so upset when they canceled it, especially with the big... Okay, you haven't finished second season, have you?
No.
I
haven't watched... I don't even think I've watched the full episode through. I've seen clips.
What are you
online.
doing? Go watch it, man.
I have anime to watch.
I know, but you need to make time for this. Young Justice is so well written.
Okay, I need to make time to watch through the Defenders Netflix shows.
Yeah. But anyway, DC, for me, has made so many great animated... Like, their animation department alone is so wonderful. It boggles my mind. How can they make such a great animated movie that goes direct to DVD most of the time and yet be better than most of their live action stuff? For example, Green Lantern First Flight, the animated movie, was 10 times better than that piece of garbage they put on screen for Green Lantern. I love Ryan Reynolds, and when I first watched it, I kind of enjoyed it. I'll be honest. I had a bit of a guilty pleasure with the movie because I didn't do a lot. I wasn't not a big Green Lantern fan at the time. I knew him basically. I knew Jon Stewart from the Justice League cartoon. I knew what Green Lantern's powers were. I didn't know much of the Hal Jordan character, and I enjoyed it. But when I saw the animated version, holy crap! That movie should have been put on the theater versus that one they made with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And even Ryan Reynolds didn't like that. It's like, because in Deadpool, it's like, and please don't make the super suit green or animated. Because it was just awful. And yet, the First Flight, they had the villain be Sinestro, which I thought they should have done right off the bat with their live action. You should have made Sinestro the villain.
I mean, I don't know much. Arguably, my DC knowledge is very lacking. But just in general.
Yeah.
But even I know that Sinestro is like the go-to villain for Green Lantern.
Yeah. And then, of course, I did research on the whole thing, and so the main villain was Parallax, which in the comic book universe was something that took possession of Hal Jordan, and Hal Jordan became Parallax. So, but yeah, the DC has so many great animated movies that we need to watch and review. Like, some of my favorites being a lot of the Batman ones. Batman Under the Red Hood is one of the best animated movies I have ever seen, and I surprisingly don't have it on DVD, but you can find it online pretty easily. And it is such a good movie. I won't spoil too much of it for you, considering you haven't seen it. But how familiar are you with Batman's sidekicks? As far as like how many versions of Robin do you know?
I know. Well, there's the Robin that became Nightwing.
Yes, Dick Grayson.
And then the Robin that came after Dick Grayson.
So you're familiar with Jason Todd?
A little bit. Not much.
So yeah, but basically it took Jason Todd and back in the I can't remember what years it was, but back when Jason Todd was Robin in the comic books, they had a thing where fans could, I think it was either call in or vote in, does Jason Todd live or does Jason Todd die? And they voted for him to die. And the Joker killed him basically with a crowbar and explosions. And they did that in the animated movie. But he comes back as the Red Hood. But I highly recommend it. We're going to watch it. The lines in that movie are just so great. The ending is really great. But yeah, when I look back at some of Marvel's animated movies, some of the strongest ones that I enjoy watching were the Hulk versus movies. They had Hulk versus Thor, and they had Hulk versus Wolverine. And I particularly enjoyed Hulk versus Thor because I've always liked watching them fight. Basically, Loki finds a way to take Hulk out of Bruce Banner, pretty much making them to two people. And he pretty much controls the Hulk and sends him to Asgard and basically trying to kill Thor. And Thor's got to stop him, basically. But
didn't they have a Planet Hulk movie?
Yes, and after watching that and after reading the book, the Planet Hulk comic book is way better. But the reason why that is because due to legal and ownership and all that, they could, in the original comic book, Hulk would at one point fight the Silver Surfer. Well, in the animated version, they couldn't use Silver Surfer because Fox owned it. And so they had Beta Ray Bill fight the Hulk. And, I mean, I enjoyed the movie, but it just was not as strong as the comic book.
Yeah.
Which I own, and I will let you read if you would like to.
I heard the same thing about Batman and the Killing Joke. That the movie was not that great, but everyone seemed to enjoy the comic.
The comic is really good. Yeah, that was actually one of DC's one of their weaker animated movies, though it really did not hurt the fact that Mark Hamill came back to voice the Joker for that movie, and they had Kevin Conroy be Batman again. They just added some things that weren't in the comic book that really didn't need to be there. They were basically trying to make what happened to Batgirl more tragic by, trying to get you to connect to the character a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Because in the comic book, Joker shows up and shoots her in the spine, basically, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down. And then he kidnaps Jim Gordon to basically drive him insane. He's trying to prove a point of, you're just one bad day away from turning out like him. And it's such a good comic book. And after the Batgirl stuff, the movie's actually pretty on par with the book. Mm-hmm. It pretty much is like taken off the page. And it's also regarded as basically the most accepted version of the Joker's origin as you can get.
Yeah.
But if DC could just get the writers who make the animated movies into their live action would be like really already like maybe even close enough to be on par with Marvel's cinematic universe. If they could just get the right writing.
Yeah.
Heck, I even read that Warner Brothers knew Justice League was going to fail.
Yeah. Which
upsets me.
Well, I mean, they had some issues during production.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, that's going to weaken your movie, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too heavily into it because I know we can, but I kind of want to save this more. I have another topic that for a different podcast, but I want to talk a bit about Teen Titans.
Oh yes,
because I mean that's the DC franchise that I know.
Yeah.
I know that one pretty well, and admittedly, I do watch Teen Titans Go, and
it's a guilty pleasure for me.
It's
stupid.
It's not the best, but it has some points where the jokes are really on par.
Oh yeah, I'll admit that. I will admit that. It's more of a guilty pleasure for me at this point that that Teen Titans Go is at.
And the big thing that Teen Titans Go did correctly was they brought back the original voice actors.
At least they did, yeah.
Bring
back the original voice actors, but it also makes me a little upset that they did because here you have Teen Titans, the series that you and I love, and then you make it. I mean, when Teen Titans Go first came out, and I watched it, I felt this is a slap to the face to what they made back in early 2000s.
And I mean, everyone thought that at first, but Butch Hartman, a month ago, I don't remember how long ago it was, he had, in his podcast, he had an interview with Tara Strong, and that interview is wonderful. I'll link it in the description. So if you're on YouTube, you can go straight to that. And yeah, Tara Strong does the voice of Raven in Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. And she brought up an interesting point in that interview about rebooting a show and what to do about the voice actors. And the show she brought up was Powerpuff Girls.
Mm-hmm.
And when they rebooted the Powerpuff Girls and Tara Strong was Bubbles,
yep,
they didn't invite any of the original cast back.
Yeah.
Or, well, at least the three girls.
Yeah,
I don't know
Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup.
I don't know about any of the other cast, but yeah, Tara had said that she and the other two voice actors, they keep in touch, and they are still really good friends. And she said she understands, but she wishes that they would have asked her and the other two to come back.
Yeah. This is just a shame.
I mean, that entire show is kind of a shame.
Yeah.
And, I still watch a fair amount of Cartoon Network. I don't think I've seen that on anymore. I think it kind of died out.
It probably did.
Which is kind of to be expected, because another point she brought up was they're not, or I think it was her, someone brought it up, the thing that changed in both Powerpuff Girls and the new Powerpuff Girls and Teen Titans Go, less with Teen Titans Go, but they're not superheroes anymore. Not like they used to be in the old shows. And admittedly, I haven't watched much of the new Powerpuff Girls.
And I have not seen any of it.
But they barely do anything to really, once again, save the day.
Once again, the day was saved thanks to the Powerpuff Girls.
And, well, they barely have the announcer. Or the announcer narrator, yeah. Yeah, the
city of Townsville is under attack by a giant monster!
He's barely in the show.
That's sad.
Which is really unfortunate, because that's what that's what always began and ended the episode. Yeah. You know, you don't have to bring back the show exactly as it was, but
you got to realize you're dealing with a fan base here.
I mean, the original fans are going to be a big chunk of your fan base, and you can either accept that or ignore it. Mm-hmm. And they seem to have ignored it and tried to go after a new fan base of the kids now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to have worked out for them.
No, it really hasn't.
Which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Teen Titans Go, on the other hand, they've
got a fan base.
They have been able to bring back some of their old fan base. They did alienate some of the fan base.
For me, for a bit.
But people started to give it more of a chance, and it has some really interesting and funny episodes.
It really does. I'll never forget the one episode I watched that actually got me laughing pretty legitimately. So there was the episode where, for some reason, Robin, Beast Boy, and Cyborg were trying to be like chivalrous and, you know, take care of everything, you know, save the city and all that, and let Raven and Starfire, you know, stay back in Titan's Tower, relax, and so, but they end up getting captured. And I think they're at the Hive base. They get captured it. So you got Beast Boy, Robin, and Cyborg in the cell, and Robin's trying to come up with a plan. He's like, "I've got it. We'll wait till we're older. Then our old selves will build a time machine, bring it back, and free us." And Beast Boy and Cyborg look at him. It's like, "Robin, that is the greatest idea ever." And so I'm like, oh my gosh, because here's the thing. It happened. You see their old selves coming back with a time machine, but they are too old and stupider.
Senile,
sure. Let's go senile. They're too senile, and they end up getting captured. So what does Robin do? He's like, "I've got it. We'll wait for our old selves to die and become ghosts, then use a time machine to come back and save us." And the ghosts come back, but they can't push the buttons because they're ghosts. And for some reason, they're stuck in the cell. And then the gag just keeps going on and on, and it's just... I mean, that honestly was probably one of my favorite episodes to watch because it was just so stupid. It was funny.
I think my... I don't so much have a favorite episode as I do favorite segments. And I have two here. The first one is with Control Freak.
Yes.
And he... talks about how he had rebooted their universe.
Yes.
And he shows them the original Teen Titans. And they get so excited and binge watch the entire show. Mm-hmm. And at the end, they're like, "Wait, is that it?" And they're acknowledging the lack of 6th season. Mm-hmm. And the creators are acknowledging the lack of 6th season, which I think is great. And I think that's what brings back the original fans.
That got me back into it. That was one of the reasons why I gave it more of a chance. Because the fact that they did acknowledge that. And it's like, well, thank you. Now I don't feel like you did it much to slap to the face of my face.
Yeah. The other one is... It was a pretty recent episode. They... completely break the fourth wall.
Yeah, that's the 200th episode, I believe. Isn't it? When they break the fourth wall?
I thought it was like 400. I'm pretty sure they're higher than 200.
No, I remember something in the summer they were talking about their whole 200 episode. Like, so Sam right now is looking up the...
Oh, no, not characters.
He's looking up the episode list to see...
Oh, yeah, you're right. It was 200.
Boom!
Man, I feel like this show has been on for so long. It has been on a long time. They're going...
Yeah.
It'll be 5 years this spring.
Wow. Did you hear about the movie they're making?
Let me yes, yeah. And let me finish my thought though. So yeah, they break out of the show, but my favorite part of that episode is them meeting their voice actors.
Yeah, I saw a clip of that.
It's hilarious. And I especially love them animating their voice actors.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It reminds me a bit of... Did you watch Chowder?
Yes, I did. I did watch Chowder.
Okay, you remember the episode where they lose their budget?
Yes! And they have the voice actors.
And it shifts over to their voice actors in the sound studio.
Yes, and they have to go, like, I think, didn't they go wash cars or something?
Yeah. And then they got the money back.
And they got enough money to reanimate it again.
Yeah.
That was great. I loved that bit.
That, and then in Amazing World of Gumball...
I don't like that show very much. But.
Oh, I love that show. It has a very interesting style of comedy.
Yeah.
That I absolutely love, and I can't tell you, I can't put into words why I love it so much, but they are supposed to be selling out for a commercial.
Yeah.
And Gumball refuses to do the commercial, and the show gets progressively lower budget to the point where everything is happening on sticky notes.
Okay, that's admittedly funny.
I'll show it to you later. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, but we got way off track.
Yeah, whatever. So yeah,
this is why we're gonna have multiple versions, just in case you're wondering. We're gonna talk on this topic a lot, Marvel versus DC.
We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about animated TV shows as well.
Yeah.
So going back to the Teen Titans Go movie.
Mm-hmm. I saw the trailer and I liked the trailer, except for the obvious, really immature joke.
Yeah, and I worry about that because, I mean, you've seen this as much as I have of studios putting the funniest part into their trailer, and then that is the high point.
It's just. I just like how they started off their trailer. Was the fact that what do you guys? Why are you all Wonder Woman, man? We're giving the people what they want. It's like, yes, Wonder Woman is great, but this movie is about us. Nobody cares about us. Everyone wants to see Wonder Woman. And honestly, I was watching. It's like, you're not wrong, because Wonder Woman.
Have you seen the episode called The Two-Parter?
Yes. Isn't that the one where Robin says something like, special? Is that the one?
Yes.
Yes.
The Justice League gets captured.
Yes, I've seen that. Oh my gosh.
And so they dress up as the Justice League characters.
Yes, I've seen that one.
Robin is Batman, and Batman's hood just smells of B.O.
Yep.
And Robin stomachs it because it's Robin.
Yep. And then
Raven is Wonder Woman.
It's like, Robin, that wet puddle you had on your pants. What was it really? It was pee. I said it was lemonade, but it was pee.
Yeah. And then Starfire was Flash.
Yep.
And then Cyborg was Green Lantern. I thought that one.
I thought that was actually pretty cool. Make that happen.
And then Beast Boy was Martian Manhunter.
Yep.
He knew next to nothing about Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, he really didn't. But no, I love how the episode ends.
I'm gonna hunt you, man.
Yeah. But no. Okay, one thing that episode made me cringe about was Darkseid.
Yeah.
That when they changed his voice after he's like, here, have a throat lozenge.
You know who his voice actor was, right?
I don't remember.
It was Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Weird Al was in that.
And I'm like...
I love how, though, basically they keep killing the Justice League trying to save them. And that was pretty funny.
Okay, Starfire. No, it was Cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
Had to go fly around the planet, reversing
yep.
time.
Basically what Superman did in the first Superman movie. Oh, gosh.
Well, and I had just seen that episode, and they gave Darkseid the lozenge,
yeah.
and I didn't recognize Weird Al's voice, and they were like, "You sound oddly like Weird Al Yankovic." I was like, "What? Oh my god, it's Weird Al."
Yeah. But nah, it's just DC when it comes to their television and their animated stuff, they're pretty good at it. They're up there. I mean, versus Marvel, though Marvel has a pretty good. I can name at least one. No, actually, no. I can name a few. Back in the 90s, Marvel had one of my favorite TV shows growing up was the animated Amazing Spider-Man cartoon, which lasted quite a long time, and it was practically my favorite. The reason why I fell in love with Spider-Man was because of that animated series. You had Peter Parker. Basically, he was a college student, and that's basically where I learned a lot about Spider-Man's characters, especially Venom. That's how I learned about the suit, the Venom suit, the origin of Venom, and basically what Spider-Man 3 kind of ripped off of, except their casting was awful. But anyway, so Marvel is they're no stranger to their television stuff. It's not bad. Their Netflix series have been pretty good, though their biggest fail lately was the Inhumans show, which I did watch the entire first season. I gave it a chance because of the fact I know very little about the Inhumans. I only know about Black Bolt and Medusa, and that was about the only characters I knew, because Black Bolt is in a lot of Marvel comic books that aren't pertaining just to the Inhumans, and I'm also familiar with Medusa because somebody with
and you're also now familiar with Quake because of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, that too. And I thought the Inhumans, like when they introduced the Inhumans and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I thought that was really cool. It's kind of answering to the whole, there's no mutants in the Marvel Universe because they didn't have the rights to them.
Yeah.
But the Inhumans show just, it was just boring. That's basically what was it. So the first episode, Medusa, they CGI'd her hair because her hair can do all these amazing things. Yeah. And they shave off her hair in the very first episode. Now, I understand the impact of what that did as far as storytelling, but also, to me, that was really lazy because you didn't want to pay for the budget for CGIing her hair. And honestly, it was kind of it felt a little bit OP because she could do a lot of things with her hair. Mm-hmm. But also, Black Bolt, the actor, not having to be able to speak, I thought that was probably the strongest thing was Black Bolt. Because you got to do a lot of it was kind of like with Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. You have a mask over this guy's face, so he had to really act a lot with his face. And that's kind of what Black Bolt, the actor for Black Bolt, did. He did hand sides, speaking a certain language with Medusa, but for his powers being if he so much as whispers, it can destroy anything, basically.
Yeah.
And it's still very hard to get behind that character because at the end, I'm gonna spoil the season finale. He traps his brother on the moon and their little town thing that they have on the moon. I'm sorry, again, not familiar enough with the Inhumans. I can't remember what it's called at the moment. Their town on the moon, but he basically he just says goodbye, brother, and it just collapses, and that's basically it. It's like it was just boring overall. Like just
not as cool as
I'd
him
hoped.
whispering "Hail Hydra" to Captain America.
Yeah, that picture. That's hilarious.
Love that.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's really sad. And then, of course, Iron Fist being its weakest Netflix series.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly quite enjoyed that series. I watched it twice. I watched the whole season twice. People, I think, went a little over exaggerating the fact that he kept saying, I am the immortal Iron Fist, enemy of the hand." He didn't say that as much as I think people made it to sound, but I will admit, like, near the end of the season, it felt like he said it a lot more. "I am Danny Rand. I am the Iron Fist. I am the sworn enemy of the hand. It is my duty to beat the hand."
Yeah,
I felt like near the end of that, yes, he said that quite a bit more than he did at the beginning.
I mean, I think once is probably enough.
Yeah, once is probably enough, and we get the idea.
I mean, you're from a writing standpoint, your villains don't need to hear that every time. And
not just
obviously
the villains.
Obviously, it wasn't every time. From a viewer standpoint, the viewers definitely don't want to hear it every time.
I don't want to hear it every time.
One time.
One time is good enough.
And especially near the end of the season,
oh gosh,
need to hear it.
Yeah,
ever.
I don't need to hear it every time. I will admit that. But like at the beginning, like maybe the first 5 episodes, he said it once, and that was basically it. But yeah, at the end of it, he kept saying it pretty much over and over again.
Yeah.
But
so I want to shift back over to animated stuff.
Yeah.
There are there are 3 Marvel. There are really 4, but I'm going to talk about 3 of the Marvel shows on Disney XD.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a little bit of them. So you've got Avengers Assemble,
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy, and Spider-Man.
Yeah, Avengers Assemble, and then
I have to say, with what little I've seen, I think the writing's great. I hate the animation.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually like
I'm
the animation a bit.
not a
Have you
fan.
seen the first Avengers, though, before it became Avengers Assemble?
No.
You need to watch that one, because that one's also really good. It was, I think it came out in 2011? Somewhere around there? Because I watched it, and I loved the animation.
Oh, the Avengers Earth's Mightiest
Earth's Mightiest Heroes, that's right, that one. That one's really good. I actually really liked that series. And then it turned to Marvel's Avengers Assemble. And I'm okay with the animation. I didn't get too much into it because I really liked the Earth's Mightiest Heroes series a lot. But yeah, as far as...
And then the fourth show that they have
Ultimate
on
Spider-Man?
Disney XD is Big Hero 6.
Oh, Big Hero 6. Okay. But yeah, Spider-Man's got a lot of animated... They just made a newer one again after Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Or, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to make you the Ultimate Spider-Man.
I have a list on my screen. So we've got Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Spider-Man, Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
Oh gosh, that's old.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man Unlimited,
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man the new animated series,
Yeah.
Spectacular Spider-Man,
Yeah, that was a good one.
Ultimate Spider-Man,
Yep.
and now Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's just Spider-Man, yeah.
So yeah, they have made a lot of Spider-Man shows.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is Marvel's Batman.
It basically is, as far as popularity wise.
Well,
Or as
far as number of shows that they've made.
Yeah, basically. But, I mean, we could go on and on about this, and that's why we're going to make this multiple parts.
Yeah.
There's just no way we can cover all of it, but if you're wondering out there, like, which do we think is better overall, you're not going to get me to answer that question. I'm sorry.
For me, it still kind of goes back to what we said at the beginning.
Yeah.
Marvel has the better live action series, and DC has better animated.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that in my mind. while Marvel has a few strong animated series, DC overall has a really good lineup of television and animation. The series that I keep watching right now is Gotham, and I'm really loving Gotham. I also love Arrow. I love The Flash. I just last summer, I watched DC's Legends of Tomorrow, which I enjoyed. I kind of want to watch Black Lightning that just came out because that one seems to be doing really well on Rotten Tomatoes. Which, did you hear about the news that apparently some DC fanboys are going to try and give Black Panther a lot of negative reviews to reflect on Rotten Tomatoes? Did you hear about that whole bit?
No, I didn't.
Let's see, that I'm just going to say right now.
We need to talk about Rotten Tomatoes.
That's going to be a whole episode on its own.
Yeah.
But I just want to say this real quick. Is as a fan of Marvel and DC, I just want to say that it's really bad to see DC fans just want to try to tarnish Marvel at any point, because I just want to go and enjoy a good movie. I just go to a movie and I like to watch and I like to enjoy. I don't like to see unnecessary hate, because that makes like DC people, like if I meet people and tell them I'm a Marvel and I'm a DC fan, or if I start with I'm a DC fan and some people might automatically jump to the conclusion, oh, so you hate Marvel. It's like, no, I don't hate Marvel. And when people go and try to sabotage these things, it's giving certain fans who actually try to enjoy these things seem bad, and I don't like that. I just think that people need to go and watch each one and just go enjoy it. Now, to be fair, there was a whole news article or a bunch of like tweets from DC fans, and I thank these DC fans who actually went to the premiere of the red carpet premiere of Black Panther, and they said they loved it and they were praising it. I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Because while DC's live action is not as good as Marvel's, I still love them. I love every single DC live action movie. To be fair,
I don't.
I know you don't. I know you don't. But for me, I was a huge DC person growing up. If you ask me, Ryan, which did you watch more of as a kid? Did you watch more DC TV shows or cartoons versus Marvel? It's like, I watched a pretty fair amount, but I'll say, yeah, I was probably more of a DC fan back then, because I loved Batman the Animated Series, I watched Superman the Animated Series, I watched Justice League, Teen Titans, Justice League Unlimited, and then with Marvel, it was just, I grew up with X-Men the Animated Series, which has one of the best opening theme songs of all time, and Spider-Man, all the Spider-Man cartoons that came out, but I can't choose between. You can't ask me who do you love more, DC or Marvel. I'm going to tell you every time, I love them both equally.
Yeah. And I'm going to say that I mostly watched Nickelodeon as a kid.
Yeah, well, I mean, I watched that too. So, with that being said, is there anything else we want to go over for this part?
Nope, that's the end. Bye.
That's not much of an ending.
I'm kidding. Go ahead and say what else.
There
wasn't much else that I wanted to throw in on this episode.
Yeah, we'll get more into detail about some things like more of the MCU versus DCU. Like, we'll compare and contrast some of the movies once we get more of those reviewed. But if you have anything specifically that you would like us to talk about with Marvel versus DC, please leave a comment below. Tweet us at RMB Reviews. Use the hashtag Sidetracked Berries to join the conversation. We will hopefully get another episode posted up in February. I'm hoping to have this up before Black Panther comes out, because I want you to be aware to keep an eye out for our first reaction video for that. shortly after we finish watching it.
Yeah.
But we thank you, and I say Excelsior! And
I say goodbye.
okay. Because DC doesn't really have the thing for
Yeah.
an ending, so bye!
Bye.